Good evening and salutations, my Days of Our Lives fans. Jesus, I don't even know what to start with first. You know what? Let's start with Xander and Gwen and Jack. Because here's the thing. I actually really like Jack and Xander's relationship. And let's be honest, Xander does not... Jack and Xander. Yeah, Xander does not actually seem like he has a lot of friends in Salem. To be honest, he seems like he only has one friend in Salem. So I really do like their relationship. And, I kind of sit there and put it like, he only has one friend, but when I sit there and I look at it, it's better to have quality than quantity. Now, Jack was first, you first see the scene with Jack, Steve, and Kayla. And, Jack's like, I got to get home. I got to sit there and make sure everything's okay with Gwen and Xander and stuff like that. And, because everyone knows everyone in this town, it's pretty obvious that, Karen, I was about to say Karen. Kayla is Team Abigail, you know. And, she's all like, well, she lied. And, it's like the way that Jack had to sit there and try to defend his relationship with his daughter, by saying that she's changed and she's a different person. And, you got Steve and Kayla just kind of like, yeah, it's a different person. Yep, okay. The sad thing is that we know that she hasn't really changed that much. And at first you can kind of look at the situation and be like, alright, Steve, Kayla, you being a little kind of like, especially Kayla with the whole, Team Abigail and everything like that. But let's be honest, Gwen has done some really terrible-ish. Okay, she's done some really terrible stuff. That's just the truth of the matter. So, they're not really, they're not willing to give her, the benefit of the doubt, and they feel bad for Jack because, they're like, hey, listen, Jack is going to wind up getting hurt if she winds up snitching telling another lie. Talk about Xander for a little bit, but it really was more about Gwen. And I feel like Steve has to be in some sort of a weird position because, yeah, they are family by blood. But, to be honest, Steve was like, listen, listen, you may be by blood, but I don't know you, okay? I don't know you. I know Abigail, and, yeah, from what I'm hearing, I want no parts of you. So, the majority of the time, after Jack leaves, you have, Steve and Kayla talking about Gwen, talking about Ava. Steve brings up the fact that Ava apologized for everything that she's done, and, Kayla's like, listen, it's not that I don't believe that people can change, it's just, well, I don't really trust a damn thing that she says. So, she's kind of on the, not on the fence about it, but she's apprehensive and, well, for good reason. They have a long history of going at each other. Just a long history. History that goes back further than, well, clearly I've been watching. By the way, did anyone actually check out the whole video that I put out on Marlena's possession? I mean, if you didn't want to watch it, that's cool. But I just didn't know if, well, I don't know. I'm trying to put out some other stuff besides just the reviews and stuff like that. So I figured this was a good one. I know I've read the suggestions and I had planned on doing that as well. It's just I saw that on Sunday and I was like, yo, I gotta sit there and put that out. But, yeah, seeing by the numbers of people that didn't watch it, probably was not a good video that a lot of people didn't like. So I'm definitely going to be putting out some other stuff that, that kind of more aligns with what people want to see. So, the hell was I saying to say? Oh, yeah, besides that, they practically just didn't really do anything else, and they just kind of danced, and, yeah. Let's talk about Chanel and Audi. We all know how much Chanel is my least favorite person. I was going to try to make a sarcastic joke, but I just don't have it in me. But with that being said, they're happy and they're celebrating and stuff like that about their new business venture. And once again, they look like they're about to kiss. So, clearly at this point, we all see what's going on. All fair and love and war, and there's clearly going to be a love triangle between Chanel, Allie, and Trip. But yeah, they look like they're about to kiss. Trip comes over, and Trip is just like, hey, listen, just let you know, Jan Spears, killed Charlie. And she's in a coma. And I think Allie was like, again? Like, isn't this like the third time? And listen, I don't know if that's like to make fun of the fact that every few years she just goes into a coma and she comes out and it just rinse and repeat over again to like a new generation. When's the last time she did this? When was that? Like 2000 or something like that? Or I don't know. The point is when she was like, again, it was like, I just laughed because it was just like, alright guys, this is bad. Y'all gotta do something with this. Like, make some better stories. I mean, y'all just got a renewal. Don't blow it, okay? The show has been on, well, since it's been black and white, probably as long as General Hospital, or around that same time. I know they're both at the 50 years mark, and honestly, to tell you the truth, I feel like, in some ways, there needs to be more soap operas. Yes, I know every other show, you look at This Is Us, and Million Little Things, The Flash, and most of the stuff on the CWs, and yeah, it is very soap opera-like. But I feel like they do need a little more soap operas, like Passions, As the World Turns, One Life to Live, All My Children. They need that stuff back. So I really feel like they need to really step up their game when it comes towards these stories. And I know that was kind of a laughable moment for me, but I was like, if that's laughable for me, some people feel that have been watching this show for, well, longer than me feel. But yeah, Trip comes over, he talks about that, and then at that point, Chanel leaves, which, by the way, Chanel just sounds totally pretentious, but that's just her charm. I can't be sarcastic about that. I'm trying to be, but it's just, she just sounds really, really pretentious. Now, at one point, Allie and Trip kiss, and then Allie just backs away, like, out of nowhere. And Trip was like, did I do anything wrong? And she was like, no, it's just, we're in a moment, and I wanted to do it, but then I just stopped. And it was like, you might want to sit there and kind of tell them why you stopped. Because, listen, the first time you had your interaction with Trip was not well. And although I did not necessarily always agree with some of the way the storyline was going, particularly Allie, I do understand that she didn't know that Trip wasn't, the guy. So I understand, she came at him a certain way and she made him feel a certain way. But now that you know him and everything like that, you need to sit there and be honest. I mean, of course she's not going to be honest because it's a soap opera, but yeah, you need to be honest, Did you stop kissing him because of Charlie? Did you stop kissing him because you have feelings for Chanel and you don't want to admit it? Whatever it is, you need to sit there and tell him, because Trip actually seems like a decent... I don't know what he was like before. I can't account for what he was like before. But from all standards, he actually seems like a really decent guy. Like a really good man, and he doesn't deserve to be hurt like that. And if Allie is like playing these games, or she's... I don't know what the hell she's sitting there doing... I'm gonna be honest, I might actually have to sit there and start being mean to Allie again. And although the first time I was mean to Allie, I did have my reasons, even though people still kind of came at me sideways. I just hope I don't have to sit there and be mean to Allie again, because, well, the first time was very controversial because of reasons, and even I understood that looking at it from another person's perspective, I came across as a dick. I don't regret what I said, I'm just saying. Now, this is a little bit different. Now you're sitting there toying around with people's hearts, and if you're not all in with Chanel, or you're not really too sure about Trip, you need to do something. But knowing her, I have a feeling that she's just not going to do anything. So I guess we'll just wait and see. Now, yes, I really do love the friendship between Xander and Jack. Now, you know, Xander looks at all his drugs like, so you're a drug dealer or whatever, and Gwen tries to deny it. She lies, she lies, she lies. They start arguing and fighting over the bag, and Jack comes in like, yo, are you Charlotte and Thomas? Well, what are y'all doing? Like, what's going on? So he seems like he's about to not flip out on them, but come down on him, come down on both of them really bad, or try to get them to admit the truth or whatever. You know, the thing about Jack that I do really like, and I've only known him for a little bit, is that Jack has a huge, huge, huge heart. And, you know, he's entrusting it with people that's, well, you know, I mean, we all know how Xander is. We all know how Gwen is. And I feel like one or both of them is going to wind up hurting him, and that's going to suck. But, you know, he seems like he's about to drop the hammer on them. He gets a phone call. Apparently, he has a chirp. I didn't know that chirp was still a thing. I thought that kind of ended in 2006 or 5. Anyway, at some point, Gwen and Xander talk. And Gwen, at this point, I'm just like, Gwen, listen, you can't keep lying to this guy. Just tell him the damn truth. And she does. Well, she tells him most of the truth. She's like, listen, somebody's blackmailing me into doing this. I don't want to do this, but I don't have another choice. I can't get into it. Whatever is going to wind up happening is going to wind up hurting Jack if he finds out. So Xander's like, listen, I don't want this guy to get in trouble. Okay? And if it really comes down to it, I will pull this damn plug. Because that's what he was going to do in the beginning. He was like, listen. And that's the one thing that I got to sit there and give Xander credit for. Xander is going down this spiral. Okay? His whole good guy act was, well, I mean, we all saw what it was like. And where that actually led up to. But with that being said, he still seems like he has somewhat of a heart, somewhat of a conscience. Or maybe the fact that, you know, Jack is his only friend. But he's looking out for him. He's like, yo, listen, I'm not letting this come back on him. So whatever you're doing, whatever's going on, this ain't falling on him. Okay, I will rat your ass out in a heartbeat. But they seem like they have a good understanding. And, you know, I mean, listen, Xander did feel some sort of sympathy for Gwen, you know, with the whole, you know, story about how her mother was using and stuff like that. I mean, at first he was like, wow, this sounds terrible. If that's true, well, that sounds terrible. With your reputation, I don't know. But they seem like they have somewhat of an understanding, and, you know, they both kind of, you know, Xander kind of agreed to cover up for Gwen, at least for now. And, you know, again, I just want to... And yes, you know, somebody said in the comment section, you know, Gwen has gone a little bit soft. I mean, she came into town, she had this whole elaborate scheme, this whole plan to, you know, blow up Jack and Jennifer's life apart, along with Abby and Chad's relationship, you know? Drugged Abigail the first time, and made sure that she knew that Gabby was going to take the fall for it. Okay, she had all these plans and everything like that, and the way to sit there and do this, that, and the third. And yet you letting, well, Dr. Dick sit there and blackmail you into being a drug mule? Really? When you could just simply tell the truth or find a way to turn it around on him? Man, I would sit there and say she went soft, but it's not that she went soft. They just made her stupid. And that's... Well, we all know how I really don't like about, you know, making the characters just be stupid for plot, but this is what they're doing because in some world this actually makes sense to them, so. Now I think the last thing I'm going to sit there and talk about is Rafe and Nicole and Sammy. By the way, I guess it's two more hearts. So pretty much Ava and Sammy had a run-in at the end. You know, because Sammy's still sitting there trying to snoop around to try to find proof that Nicole cheated on Eric with Xander. And I'm just like, you know, sweetheart, you did cheat on EJ with Lucas, but sure, whatever. Let's just pretend that didn't happen. So Ava was like, yo, listen, what are you doing with my girl? Like, don't be coming at her sideways. And so they go back and forth, and at one point Ava's like, so you know about long distance relationships, and you know how strenuous they can be. So how's your relationship with EJ? So they go back and forth a little bit, but then they start to find some common ground. At one point, Sammy was like, you need to sit there and take responsibility for what Charlie did, and I was like, Sammy, whoa, listen, Ava was she was a shitty mother. Okay, I felt like cursing at this point was just necessary because I really wanted to stress how much she was just a shitty mother to Charlie. Now, granted, she could have been a sweet mother to Charlie and he could have still did what he did, so it's not on him. But the point is, it's like, yo, you can't put that on Ava. And so Ava was like, listen, I apologize for what I did, my part, and what Charlie did as far as not being a good mother to Charlie and what, Charlie did to Allie, But then they both talk about Henry. They both talk about Trip, being a good uncle and seeing, as far as their children dating each other. So they smile, they have some common ground, and, even Sammy was like, hey, listen, we all make mistakes. So it seems like it's ending on somewhat of a good note, but then Ava's like, yeah, listen, we're all kumbaya about our kids and our grandson and stuff like that, but, that's a separate part. The Nicole part, like I said, don't come at my girl. So she walks off, and I'm just looking at this like, man, that's so complicated. Like, I don't think Sammy's an evil person. I think that she definitely has her issues, and so does Nicole, but the point is, Sammy isn't an evil person, okay? They do share a grandson, and their kids are dating each other, and Sammy does like Trip, stepping up and just being a good person and forgiving Allie for all the stuff that she did to Trip, and he was just like, yo, you don't have to apologize. Like, she likes Trip, but Ava's need to defend Nicole is kind of a no-no, so they're kind of like, whatever. Now, Rafe, is not there talking, having a heart-to-heart with Nicole about still being friends. They talk about the whole sex with Ava and yada, yada, yada. But, Rafe's like, listen, at the end of the day, your opinion matters because you matter and all that good stuff. So, everything is cool, copacetic, and yeah, Rome was there because I don't really know why he was there. Listen, I don't hate Rome. I feel like Rome is like one of those characters that just comes in the show because they've been on there for so long, and they're just like, hey, I'm here and I'll do a couple of speaking lines. So they've been there for a while, so it's like they kind of just get to just come in and just be there. But yeah, Rome was there, just in case I forgot about that, because I was. Now, Rafe does ask Nicole about the whole Xander thing, like, why are you even in this room? Like, y'all don't like each other for all sorts of reasons, so what's going on? Like, why isn't it trying to hire him for a job? And Nicole tries to deflect. At some point, Rafe was like, does he have something over you? Because last time he was blackmailing you, he kidnapped you. Is it blackmailing? What's in his bag of tricks? Like, what's going on? So he's sitting there talking to her. Ava comes in. With that being said, Nicole's like, alright, well, three's a crowd, so I'm just gonna, head on out. Bye! She leaves, and Rafe is like, Nicole's hiding something. Something's going on with her and Xander. And of course, Ava sits there and backs her like, hey, listen, she's a big girl, whatever it is, just, she can handle it, you know how Xander is, so, whatever. Let her handle her stuff, and she just, whatever. So they continue having dinner, and that's that. Now, at some point, Nicole is walking, and she runs into Sammy, and once again, Sammy just like, oh, you cheated on my brother, blah, 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 you cheated on my brother. And I'm like, Sammy, I would sit there and give you an ounce of credit, and I'm trying to, because I understand that, one, she doesn't like Nicole. And they have history, and so I'm not even going to sit there and even try to pick sides. But that's one. Two, in her own Sammy way, she is Cynthia trying to look out for her brother. Okay? Three, we all know that Nicole did actually cheat. Granted, she was had a very low, she was at a very low point in her life as far as, Eric and everything like that. She was drinking too much. And while I do always sit there and say that there's really no excuse for cheating, because let's be honest, it's not. There's 100 different ways you can sit there and either avoid it or sit there and just tell this person straight up, listen, if you do not come back here to Salem in the next 7 days, whatever happens, happens. Listen, it's a dick thing to say, or a bitchy thing to say, but it's the truth. But with that being said, there's a reason why she did what she did. Now, Sammy, again, coming at her for, oh, you cheated, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, sweetheart, you literally are doing the same thing to EJ. So the fact that she actually has the gall, like, not even a twitch in her eye, like, I'm kind of being a hypocrite, but I'm just going to keep on marching on. Okay, Sammy, sure. So Nicole's like, listen, because Sammy's like, oh, I talked to the person and to the manager, and she, he said that, your name was never in the book, and he's never heard of Nicole walking in here, stumbling with Xander. Nicole brings up some sort of fake receipts talking about she charged her, her room to the business. Just like, wow. In General Hospital, you had this character that was there charging drinks to the corporate account. And I'm just like, wait, really? You charge drinks to a corporate account because it's business? So I could just sit there and have a business meeting, and because I want to sit there and have a couple of scotches, I could just be like, nah, you just charge that to the business, and that's cool? So apparently you could charge hotel rooms. Okay, maybe that's a little bit more plausible. My point is, no, that's not, you know what, I'm not going to sit there and try to get into that, because I'm just like, it's traveling is one thing, but whatever. Point is, she comes out with a fake receipt, and Sammy buys it. But she's like, well, you might have got me this time, but, I'm going to keep my eye on you. And she walks off practically, and Nicole's like, it's a good thing that I thought I had to make up this fake receipt. Okay, Nicole. But then she's all like, all the bad things I've did in my life, cheating on you with Xander was the worst. And I was like, it was, but now we all saw the previews. So we all know that Greg is coming back. This is going to be crazy. I feel as though that Nicole's going to get pregnant. And this is not just my prediction. Nicole's going to get pregnant. Now, at some point, Xander and Gwen are going to probably become a thing. Because, heaven forbid, we actually sit there and try to tie up loose ends as far as where the hell is Sarah. Gwen and Xander are going to become a thing. And then they're going to find out that Nicole's pregnant. And so that's going to put a strain in their relationship. It's going to put a strain even more in Nicole's relationship with Eric. And I feel like Nicole may start to revert back to old Nicole before I actually started watching the show. So if that happens, that should be interesting. I feel like there might be more. But I can't remember what it is. I think I kind of covered most of it, if not all of it. With that being said, I'm going to go. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section below. I want to thank everyone for watching, especially at this time of night, because to be honest, one, I should probably be asleep. But, I was going to watch it, so I have doing reviews anyway. And two, just thank everyone for sitting there watching. I know everyone's probably could be sleeping right now, depending on what time zone you're in. And I do appreciate you watching, and even if you don't watch it today and you're watching it tomorrow, still thank you. And, yeah, I think that's going to do it. With that being said, I'm going to go. I want to thank everyone for watching. Be safe. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Catch you in the next video.